Hello and welcome back to another Esoteric Warrior podcast. It's your boy Sifu G. Okay, tonight I thought I'll do a video lecture on what has been on my mind regarding as from a Taoist perspective, me being a Taoist and trying to make sense of where we live, right? Because as you know, the earth is not a spinning ball going out of control. And this lecture is based off old maps that I've looked at and researched. Some books also. I'm going to be just mentioning some of the information. By all means, this is not, who knows, right? But I'm going to try and give you something to think about that's been on my mind, and I hope you enjoy it. I know my last Black Sun video, I got so much hate. It's all good, right? The lies and deception is real about they're hiding where we live, and this is one of the most important things for mankind, right? Because if we knew the truth, there wouldn't be all this evilness in the world, because there must be an architect behind all this and where we live. And the maps that I'm talking about are the maps that have this ice wall and lands beyond that. So I'm going to try and explain how I see things. You're looking through the eyes of Sifu G in a Taoist perception, and I'm also using the Hebrew type of dome, firmament type of way to explain a few things. Alright, so anyway, let's get started. The first thing in Taoism cosmology, the Tao gave birth to the one. Then the two, the yin yang, split again, and we get the four elements, right? The lesser yang, greater, the passive and the active. Earth, water, fire and air, but we're going to look at those in what this is about. Is we're going to be trying to look at them and how I see things on why the earth does certain things. Alright, let me get there. Hang on a sec, guys. Alright, so you don't need to see the face, but welcome to my channel, Esoteric Warrior Online. As a Taoist, Tao gave birth, it splits from yin, a solid, and two broken for the yin. That then splits and we get these four elements. They split again and we get the trigram, we get the pre-heaven and the post-heaven Bagua. So one's based on the physical makeup of the earth and the universe in its element forms. The post is the metaphysical side of the unseen part of what's happening with our five phases or organ theories and stuff like that. We know that the post heaven has a Loshu magic square that I do a lot of research and talk a lot about, and on the magic square you got excuse my chicken scratch, 1 to 9, right? This number 1 is water and fire is at the top, and the fire represents the spiritual fire, right? The light inside us, God's light, right? So that eternal flame, right? It's a spiritual essence of fire, and we have to have the water combined. Anyway, that's not so much on the talk. I want to talk about these here and what they represent. Using the Hebrew version of the flat earth, sorry guys, I'm trying to get as close as I can. In the Hebrew version of with the firmament, right, so you've got, this is earth inside here, in the middle is magnetic north, and we'll get to that in a sec. You got the North Star directly at the top. We talk about the black sun. They talk about Sheol, like the underworld, but is that truly it's not a hell, is it a inner world or inner earth? It's not just an underworld as in death. People think we go to hell, but are they talking about an under our earth, our world, what we consider our world? Is there another inner earth, as a lot of explorers and people have mentioned in books from antiquity? So all the sun and the moon is all contained, and within this shell, our little cosmic egg that's controlled by magnetism and electromagnetism, obviously, but in the Hebrew they have the fire of heaven and the water of heaven before the earth. And getting back to the low shoe, they got the fire on top and the water directly the same as the low shoe. So I'm trying to connect dots, right? I know that we're not on a ball spinning, but the magic square fits in with everything with a flat earth, right? Stationary. Something's going on here. We're not being taught the truth, I'm telling you right now. There's so much disinformation. So, if we look at the yin yang, all the sun and moon move clockwise, and the stars above that move counterclockwise. So if we look at the yin yang from above, right, this is just halving night and day, right, sun and moon. The middle here is what's important. That's the North Star and magnetic north, right? Right, looking from above, right? So it's just telling us about a lot of other things, obviously with medicine and stuff like that, yin yang. It's telling us that, but I want to make sure that this outside circle, right, is the ice wall, if that makes sense. So then there's water, but this magnetic north in the old books of the past say that there's 4 directions coming out of there, which are based on this, because in the Hebrew they have windows or doors up in heaven. These 4 doors are these here that allow the springtime, summer, autumn and winter by opening and closing, right? Summer, it must be closed, completely closed, allows some in, lets more than that, and then winter it's that fucking cold, right? So maybe the windows, excuse me, maybe, just maybe, they're actual, those doors that they talk about in the Hebrew, those windows that create the the seasons. Yeah. Like I said, I'm just throwing you as a bone. What goes through my head is it going to just go, this guy's just absolutely off tap. But it's okay, because we're all in this together, and I want to know some truths here. And I'm looking at it from a Taoist way, and I kind of see a pattern, but I probably can't convey it to you properly, because it's complicated. Because I'm getting information, I'm researching, and I'm putting together what I think. But we all know in Taoism we've got the North Star, and there's even maps in Asian maps, these Chinese and Japanese, and they got the middle, like the mountain Nauru, I think they call in other ones, and then there's all these rings, and you got the 4 directions. But to get to the center of our world, our Earth, there's whirlpools, right? And this is what I've just drawn here. And that's also known as the navel of the Earth, right? I think it's the axis mundi or something like that. So, and in these old books of sailors and explorers that tried to get to the north, they were swallowed up through whirlpools and spat back out, right? And that was also creating the tides. So you got the tides in the summer, and to get to the outside of this ice wall, these are the windows and breaks. There must be the 4 directions, there's 4 ways to exit and come in, but it's protected by all our governments, right? So we can't even get to the South Pole, because North Pole is the middle. South Pole goes right around that big ice wall. And if you're going left to the North Star, that's southwest. Right to the North Star, that's northeast. Right, so the sailors knew that by navigating, and they still use all this today too, right? But hey, what do I know? We all knew what follow the fucking science did for us, right? You know, that was all, come on. Follow the science, and you want me to believe that we're spinning out of control, rocketing. Why all our stars are still the same every night. You can't say they're flying with us, come on. So getting back to this, to exit our little Earth, or our land, it's been protected by our governments, as I said, and if there is land outside our wall, and you can escape from, what's that snake escape from something it was called with, what's the name? Anyway, if we're inside our own little world with our own solar system and stars, and there is land outside, do they have our same solar system? Because even in Taoism, there's 3 heavens and 3 earths and 3 types of men, I guess. And that equals 9 again to the lowest you go. But is this a matrix that the people are talking about? We know that, like I said, the moon is a hologram, right, of Earth. It's our little TV. It's our Earth movie. We can look up at the moon on a full moon and you see our lands, and that is just godly. That is beautiful, right? And there's a lot of new clips of people putting up this information using the old maps, and I'm not trying to just write it, I'm trying to do it from a Taoist point of view. and it makes sense to me. I can see this all working. So you've got these windows or gates. I know that the Hebrew has it up on here, but maybe it's not. Maybe they're on these four corners of our world here. That's the ice wall, right? Or that's the ice wall here. Now, back to the yin yang and Bagua though. Right, so it's just a quick, you know what the Bagua looks like, right? And we got two Baguas, or probably more, but just as you said, the later and the pre and the post-heaven Bagua makeup. Now, if this is our Earth that we're living in with the sun and the moon, and that's the ice wall, and there's four windows or directions or breaks in those walls that are protected by our governments, that's why no one can sail there. They get arrested and turned back, right? Centre here of the Earth, that's north. But these here, on the old maps, these could be islands. Right? Because they've all got their own, on these other maps they got Asgard, and we know heaven, it was known as Asgard in some of the different cultures, right? But then you've got different ones. There's one that says white tiger, and that in Chinese this is for the west, sorry, the white tiger on these old maps with names like that, and in Chinese they got almost similar names, and there's names of dragon, type of dracon, or some type of, these trigrams, what I'm saying is they could be possibly land outside the ice wall, and they're just a map of, made beautiful in little squares and yin and yang, you know, nice little squares, but maybe they're just little islands outside of the ice wall. And I'm going to try and add some of these images that I've seen into this clip, so you can get an idea of where I'm coming from about. Just look at these as little islands when you see these images, and then the ice wall is the outside of the circle of our held inside captivity. We're not allowed to go out past there for some reason. Why is that? And was it Dr. Richard Berg said that he went out past the pole and found more land, or is that just propaganda, right? Apparently he wrote some secret books, and they've been released, and he's talking about inner earth and all sorts of different higher species of consciousness. Right, so if our earth is stuck in this little thing that we're not allowed out of for some reason to know the truth, that's why we're kept in the dark. And that's why they're protecting all the information from leaking out. I'm not saying this, I'm just saying, I'm trying to put a Western view into my Taoist thinking, and when I saw the window or doors, it just made me think of these because of the different seasons. It's clockwork. right? And if this is the navel which sucks in the seed and breathes it out, then you're getting your 12-hour tide. You're getting all your tides as well, right? And this will, like I said, as a clockwork, you're going through each stage or each season, and it closes off one door, opens up another, so we can get fresh air or whatever's going on there, right? I know it sounds off the chart, but these windows, they say, lets the water in, the flood waters. The water above, is that the rain that is being generated? Something gets sucked up and brought back up into the waters above, like a pump system through the navel. You see what I mean? Like the suction because everything's rise and fall, right? Everything's kung fu, right? Everything's rise and fall, just like your breath. Right, rise and fall. So therefore, if that's the navel of our earth, we start to look like, and then we got the 4 pillars that are holding it up. Right, what have we got? The black tortoise. Right, so you can see how all these ancient civilizations had almost exactly the same idea. How can it all be all fake? Every continent had a dome type of waters above. Taoism has got the chaotic waters, the primordial water, right? The Egyptians, it's got the water. So we're not being told the truth. Something's happened in history, and some of these old books that were written are arguing the point, giving you so much detail about our stationary flat earth. It's a shame that it's not taught at school, except now it's gender this and fucking all sorts of stupidity. It's not even worth going to school, to be honest. Given the real information, and see what they're doing is they're trying to stop us from having our spiritual connection with the one God, right? That consciousness, the God inside you, that divine spark. But they can't stop everyone, because once everyone starts awakening, they're going to ask the questions. And the first question, and it shouldn't even be a fucking question, where do we live? What do we live on? You know, they can't even go to the moon, because it's not a real thing. It's a projection. It's our Earth movie. We can look up at the stars and connect. They're stopping us from connecting with our higher self and consciousness, and to get to the next level, maybe escape this reality. Maybe there's a different reality or realities on the outside of this prison that they've stuck us in, right? So anyway, yes, it's a little bit out there, but I love the idea of how they can change because it's not just how the sun's moving through the sky that's going to change just everything as in seasons. I don't believe there has to be where the winds come from, the amount of water from the sky, floods, massive floods lately. Is it a cleanse? We need a cleanse on this earth. Is that what's happening? But at the end of the day, it was just supposed to be a quick one, but what I saw here and of the Hebrew flat earth with a firmament kind of resonated, and I thought, oh, I better just do that, even just for my friends and students. They know what I'm like. I'll talk to them, they'll say, we're not doing this today. When I talk about flat earth. But I truly believe that they're stopping us from knowing about where we live and what's outside. I think I read somewhere that they found a few islands outside of Japan that's never been discovered. If that's true, then how come all those satellites didn't pick it all up that they reckon they got floating around? Oh, we've missed that, and it's only a few 100 kilometres away and no one's seen it? Come on. Anyway, the Earth is still. Right, Taoist is to sit still like a mountain. Can you imagine a mountain flying through space? It's not still. So stick to the path, no matter what it is. Connect to your higher self. Good eating, good thinking. Even if it is weird, it's worth the knowledge. Can set us all free. Alright guys, Tao bless.